Hello everyone, this is Zooc, and today I'm going to be bringing you a different kind of commission. This is going to be for actual StarCraft custom overlay. It's not for a pro gamer, it's just for this guy that likes to stream a lot, and he's commissioned me before for a bunch of shit, various Twitch backgrounds and stuff. So now he's decided to stream StarCraft 2, and so he wanted a Protoss themed overlay, because that's what he plays, obviously. So, let's do it, I guess. I do this sort of stuff pretty often. I mean, I've done like stuff for the Axiom players, and I plan to use my tablet to paint like some really cool ones for all the Axiom guys. But first, I have to actually get good at it. I think the current overlay that I made is pretty nice as well, and it should last a while at least. So because it's Protoss inspired, I opened StarCraft editor, map editor, and decided to like look for certain shapes to get inspiration. And because Protoss has some very particular shapes with lots of grooves and indentations and stuff, and like socketed gems and all sorts of crazy shit in them. So it's always nice to get inspiration from the actual source. So I picked a Void Ray wing, or whatever part that is, and altered it a bit, and I decided that was going to be like my headpiece, my main element in the picture. So I built it in Illustrator, and now I'm applying various layer styles, and mostly doing it by hand, really, not really messing around with layer styles that much, just selecting various pieces of the part and brushing them over to create a 3D effect and some nice shading and like smooth gradients on top. There are various ways to go about something like this. You can build it entirely in Illustrator and have it finalized there, which would probably look pretty good if you know your thing in Illustrator. Or you can build certain shapes in Illustrator like I did and copy them over into Photoshop as smart objects and just mess around with them, like no damage done in the end. So now I found a random gem on Google Images that I'm gonna try to multiply along the production of this image to just give it some little extra thing there, like it's a design element. Blue gems are very characteristic to Protoss units in general, so why not use it? So the process is pretty much a lot of trial and error for me. I don't have a fixed method. Like, I never go into something like this having a plan. I just sort of mess around until I find something I actually like, and that's usually the best way to go about it, because I've always worked in a very chaotic manner, and it just seems to work out for me. Some people really like sit down and make a sketch and detail all of the stuff before they actually start. And I can't do that. I can't do that because I'm not trained in Photoshop. So I've always just experimented and found certain ways to obtain the effects that I was going for without necessarily being the best way or the most time efficient way. I would like to know all the shortcuts and all of the effects that you can probably obtain. I mean, there's millions of tutorials out there, but to be honest, I don't have time to learn. I actually have to do. Learning out of necessity is pretty much always the best case scenario, because you're always pressed for time, and you always actually have to do something that you don't have the time to prepare for it. You actually just have to do it. And when you just have to do it and you don't have time to mess around and maybe make like a little shortcut list, then you're forced to learn. Like, all of the stuff that I've learned in my life so far has been mostly out of necessity in terms of graphic design and profession related things. Like, I've always just had to know how to do certain something. So I think it works out eventually, because humans are kind of built to improvise and come up with all sorts of solutions to problems, and that's one thing that I'm well known amongst my peers for. I kind of always come up with a solution to certain problem, and it's nice to have that sense of just what's it called? Fuck's sake, that word. Improvisation, right? I just used it and I forgot it the exact next second. So I'm just putting a webcam space in there because most of the streamers have their webcams on. This guy isn't super famous or anything. Like, he doesn't have a lot of viewers. But of course, it's not up to me to judge what he should have or not. I did my best with this, and I think the end result, as you will see, will be pretty cool. Maybe not the best you've ever seen, but it's pretty cool, I think. Like, in terms of Protoss inspired stuff, it's actually kind of nice. So I'm just messing around with a lot of pattern layers and trying to find like just random shit. I have a large library of various patterns and styles that I combine and mess around with. But most of the time, like you see here, I end up doing stuff manually because it's just more control like that. So I'm just trying to spice it up, picking up various elements. For this sort of interface stuff, I often actually use assets from Blizzard, because Blizzard has some pretty awesome designers, as most of you probably know. And, there's really no reason to come up with something from scratch. Like, a lot of times, just taking something that they've made and reusing it in a new way is enough to give a cool effect and not make it look like it's entirely copied, which you never really want to do, because that's not design, that's just copying. So, experimenting and all that, it's always nice. I've done most of the stuff I do for StarCraft interface, in terms of like tournament interfaces and all that, and layouts and stuff, is made using actual assets modified in a way that they're not used with the purpose that they were initially used for. So now I'm just customizing it with his logo, and that blue thing. It sort of looks like a smoke sort of effect going into the TV or the device that sports that little Humble TV logo, kind of seeming like it's fueling it, or there's like fumes coming out from the back. So I think that's kind of a nice thing. Just grab the random wallpaper that I had in my collection of like thousands of wallpapers, and just seemed to fit that particular situation. Like, it's so many things you can do with just random images from the internet, like using them in a way that they were never meant to be used, and just making something really cool out of them. So I'm just repeating the logo there just to have some space filler, because I'm not going to fill that entire space up with a webcam. I'd like some more design elements. And I've actually kept a few bits of the original interface in, because there was no reason to actually change them. Like at the bottom right, you will see there's a little pillar there that belongs to the actual original StarCraft 2 interface. So that's going to be it. Please rate that shit if you like it. I realized I haven't posted many videos the past few days because I've been pretty busy with various things. I've installed my solid state drive, which just arrived from the US, and it's fucking amazing. It's so fast. Can't believe I haven't done this before. It's complete change. Like, it's just amazing. I recommend anyone out there with a little bit of extra cash to get a solid state drive, for at least to put Windows on it and whatever, like the main game you play and all the software. It's really worth it. So yeah, I'm gonna try and make up for the lack of videos for the past few days in the weekend. I wish you a good weekend, and I hope you liked it, and I will see you guys around. Bye bye.